Look, I'm about to tell you something that sounds completely backwards. Something that will make you think I've lost my mind. But stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal is why she is thinking about that guy at 2 a.m. and not you. And by the end of this video, you will discover the one thing he did that you are probably too afraid to try. Most men think attraction is built through constant communication. They believe frequent texts, regular calls, and always being available will eventually convince her to develop feelings. The logic seems simple: the more she sees you, the more she'll like you. In reality, the opposite often happens. When your attention is always available, you become familiar, expected, and easy to predict. Instead of creating excitement, you become part of her routine. Before long, you're the person she messages to pass the time, not the one she finds herself thinking about when she can't sleep. What I'm about to explain may sound uncomfortable at first. Some people even mistake it for manipulation. But once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll realize it's actually about creating healthy emotional space rather than playing games. Here's the surprising part: sometimes doing less has a stronger impact than doing more. It sounds impossible, yet there's a reason for it. By the end of this video, you will understand why certain men naturally stay on a woman's mind without pretending to be someone they're not or relying on mind games. When you understand this principle, you stop being just another name in her contacts. Instead, you become someone who continues to occupy her thoughts long after the conversation ends. This is not based on wishful thinking. It's rooted in how curiosity and emotional investment influence human behavior, even when common sense suggests otherwise. But first we need to address the biggest mistake many men make without realizing it. Ironically, it's the very habit that teaches her mind to stop wondering about them. Imagine this. You meet a woman you truly enjoy spending time with. The chemistry feels promising, so you naturally begin sending morning messages, checking in throughout the day, and making sure she knows you are interested. From your perspective, you are simply being consistent and showing effort. Then something changes. Her replies become shorter. Conversations lose energy. The excitement you thought was growing slowly begins to disappear, leaving you confused about what went wrong. Here's the uncomfortable truth that often gets overlooked. If you're always the first to reach out and constantly provide reassurance, you may unintentionally reduce the curiosity that fuels attraction. Think about watching a television series that keeps ending each episode with an unresolved twist. Those cliffhangers make you eager to watch the next episode because your brain craves resolution. Once the entire series is over, however, the suspense disappears. The mystery is gone, and eventually your attention shifts elsewhere. The same principle can apply to relationships. When every interaction provides complete certainty, there's little room for curiosity. If all your attention is available immediately, there's no opportunity for curiosity to develop. Here's the key insight. Attraction often grows through emotional momentum rather than constant emotional reassurance. When someone always knows exactly what to expect from you, when you're instantly available, endlessly predictable, and constantly seeking connection, the sense of discovery fades. Human beings are naturally drawn toward unanswered questions, not mysteries they've already solved. That's why she may not be lying awake wondering about you. In her mind, there are no unanswered questions left. Now you might be thinking, so are you saying I should ignore her? Not at all. The goal isn't to disappear or play manipulative games. It's about creating a balanced dynamic where both people have space to become genuinely curious about each other instead of one person doing all the emotional work. When constant availability removes anticipation, the obvious question becomes, what actually creates lasting intrigue? That's where the real game begins. The one thing that makes her brain obsess. Before we dive deeper, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like if you're ready to level up your understanding of attraction, because what's coming next? You won't find this anywhere else. Here's the move that changes everything. And I'm warning you, your first reaction will be, that's too risky. But I'm going to prove to you why it's not. Create emotional gaps, not games. not manipulation. Strategic absence that makes your presence more powerful. So if you're constantly checking your phone, hoping for a reply, or pretending to be unavailable while secretly waiting for attention, the strategy loses all effectiveness. Real distance only works when your life is full of goals, interests, and responsibilities that naturally demand your focus. Here's what that looks like in practice. Avoid always being the one who starts every conversation. When you do reach out, make your messages memorable. Say something thoughtful, funny, or intriguing, then leave the conversation while the energy is still high instead of stretching it until it becomes dull. Many men make the mistake of talking until there's nothing left to say. Think of your favorite movie or song. The best ones leave you wanting another listen instead of exhausting the experience. Conversations work the same way. There is another layer that separates confidence from insecurity. Develop a life that isn't completely predictable. If she sends a message in the evening, you might not respond until the following day, not because you're trying to create suspense, but because you are occupied with things that matter. When she invites you somewhere, sometimes you're available, and sometimes you already have meaningful plans. The important part is that your schedule reflects a fulfilling life, not manufactured scarcity. However, none of this matters without one essential ingredient. Whenever you are together, give her your complete attention. Put away the phone. Eliminate distractions. Be fully engaged in the conversation and the moment. That combination of independence and focused presence creates a powerful contrast. When you're apart, curiosity naturally fills the silence. She begins wondering what you're doing, who you're spending time with, and why your life seems so balanced. Those unanswered questions often make someone think about you far more than constant availability ever could. Now here's an idea that surprises many men. You don't need to agree with everything she says. At first glance, that may sound like a terrible relationship strategy, but respectful disagreement can actually make interactions more authentic. Many people believe they should constantly be agreeable, supportive, and accommodating because they assume that's the safest path to attraction. Yet endless agreement rarely creates excitement. Being challenged respectfully often makes conversations more engaging than endless validation. That doesn't mean becoming argumentative or disrespectful. If you honestly see things differently, express your opinion with curiosity instead of judgment. You could simply say, "That's an interesting perspective. I actually see it another way." Responses like this communicate confidence. They show that you think independently and aren't afraid to express your own views while still respecting hers. Instead of placing her on a pedestal, you're interacting with her as an equal. Strive for balance. Be kind without becoming overly accommodating. Show interest without appearing dependent. Be attentive without becoming possessive. People become memorable when they reveal different sides of their personality. Depth is often far more captivating than predictability. Next comes one of the strongest ideas in this approach, but it should be used carefully and ethically. Focus on creating experiences that stand out. Rather than relying on routine dates and ordinary conversations, introduce moments that feel unique. Visit places she has never explored. Share conversations that move beyond small talk. Create memories connected specifically to the two of you. Someone may eventually forget another dinner at a familiar restaurant, but they'll likely remember an unexpected midnight adventure spent looking at the stars while discussing dreams, fears, and future ambitions. There is another subtle concept that builds anticipation. Mention experiences you could share together someday without turning them into firm commitments. You might casually say, "We should visit that cafe after it opens." Or, "You'll love that hiking trail when the weather cools down." Or even, "There's a book I think you'd really enjoy. I'll bring it next time." Notice the pattern. These aren't promises or scheduled plans. They're possibilities. By casually placing yourself into future experiences, you give her imagination something to revisit later without creating pressure or expectations. She may eventually catch herself wondering when those moments might happen or whether you'll mention them again. The key is moderation. If every conversation is filled with future ideas, they lose their impact. Used occasionally, however, they become memorable. Timing also matters. When you create healthy distance, allow enough time for that space to actually be felt. Not a couple of days. Not just 1 week. Sometimes it takes several weeks for someone to truly notice your absence. That idea often makes people nervous because they assume they'll simply be forgotten. But here's the reality. If someone completely loses interest after a short period despite meaningful interactions, the connection probably wasn't very strong in the first place. On the other hand, if genuine chemistry existed, time often strengthens curiosity rather than erasing it. While you're apart, continue improving yourself. Train consistently. Develop new skills. Meet new people. Invest in hobbies and experiences that make your life richer. Share moments that reflect authentic personal growth rather than attempts to provoke jealousy. Then, when your paths cross again, you're not simply returning after disappearing. You're returning as a stronger, more confident, and more fulfilled version of yourself. That visible growth often leaves a lasting impression because people naturally notice positive change. And if, after all of that, she still shows no interest, accept the answer with confidence. Rather than spending months or even years chasing someone who was never truly invested, you'll have gained clarity while continuing to build a better life for yourself.